Maple Collector here. Today I'm going to do part 2 of my 3-part series of the garden tour. Today I'm going to kind of go over my section with, it has my younger trees that I'm growing out in grow pots and some other species trees and some trees that I am experimenting with as far as pruning goes. I like to mess around with stuff. Okay, so I think I'll start here. It's hard to get this one in. This one on the bottom here is Acer annuinense. I'm sure I said that one wrong. It's also called, it's had a few different names. It was sold to me as Acer robustum, or Ace. It's also called Acer ceriflorum by some. The first name I gave you is supposed to be the correct name now. So that's a taxonomy thing. I'm sure you're not that interested in. But this one is it's got really nice large leaves, very similar to a larger leafed Acer palmatum. I just got this one this winter, so I haven't seen the fall color on it, but it's supposed to have really nice fall color. We'll see. I will get back to you on that one. But I like collecting these trees from section Palmata that are closely related to Acer palmatum, because at some point I want to start hybridizing a lot more of these and see what I can come up with as far as some new cultivars possibly. I mean, a lot of the cultivars that are out there today are hybrids anyway. Most of them are, most of the ones that are hybrids are Palmatum shirasawanum hybrids, but I bet you there's a lot of other stuff in there too. A lot of times seedlings are just collected at nurseries and they have nice color on them and they look like an Acer palmatum. So people just say Acer palmatum, but who knows? They could have other trees in that garden from section Palmata that could have crossed with a tree, and that's actually what made that that cultivar. So that's why I'm interested in collecting these species trees to see what I can get out of them. Here we go. That's a really pretty tree. I've had this one for quite a while. That's Acer palmatum Shigatsu Sawa. Really pretty reticulation. Almost a yellow color when they first come out. This one's still kind of yellowish, but it kind of fades to green and white as the summer gets near. It will burn in the sun in the summer if you give it too much sun. So I definitely recommend shade for this one, or just maybe a little bit of morning sun. But a very beautiful tree and really stands out in a shady area, especially in the spring, but all year it'll give you color unless you have it in the sun and it'll fry. There is my prehistoric tree. That is Araucaria columnaris. A lot of people have it as a house plant, a star pine, or some people call it a Cook Island Christmas tree. I've seen it called too. There are two similar species that are sold in stores, but this is the most common one that you'll find in like a big box store, grocery store, as a house plant tree. But it does pretty well in California outside, at least in the coastal areas of California. In the interior, it may get a little bit too cold and freeze in the winter. This one's gotten really tall. I'll probably chop it down. This is the type of conifer that you can cut and it will resprout. Oku Shimo. These are Pomatum Oku Shimo. Neat little leaves on that one. Shoujo no Mai. Very similar to butterfly. This one's starting to get more pink coloration as it gets larger. When it was small, it didn't have much pink when it came out. It wasn't that impressive, and it just quickly turned to green and white. Even the green and white's still pretty, though. I mean, it's just basically looks like a typical butterfly. Nice tree. I'm looking forward to it getting bigger. It seems to be growing pretty rapidly. I got it as like a little tiny liner maybe 2 years ago, 3 years at the most, and it's like about 5 feet tall now, 4 or 5 feet tall. So Shoujo no Mai. There we have a ficus tree, Ficus Benjamina. Also a house plant in most areas. I grow it outside. I've had this one for a really long time, probably the longest time I've had a plant. I got this one, I believe, in maybe 94, 95 when I lived in San Diego, California. So my parents got it for me as a housewarming gift or apartment warming gift. So Ficus Benjamina. Back there, a money tree. Doesn't have much money on it right now, but it comes out pretty nice in the summer. Kind of lose some of its leaves in the winter. I just keep it back here. This one's kind of recovering. I had some drought issues with it. That is Gold Digger, Acer Palmatum Gold Digger. I do have problems with some trees. It's almost exclusively my fault, though. When I do, I can usually figure out why it is and correct the issue. A couple trees I've gotten in the past, though, I don't think it is my fault. I just think it's a bad tree. But this one, that is my fault. I have a fairy hair down here, which is on its last leg, just slowly dwindled every year. So I don't know if I'll try that one again. I was enamored by it at first, but I'm not that into them anymore, especially since I've seen how they just kind of dwindle. I know I've seen some big ones, and they're pretty awesome when they're bigger, but getting one to that big size, I don't know how long that takes. So I don't think it's one I really want to mess with. So, anyway, this is a neat cultivar of Acer carpintifolium. Carpinifolium or carpintifolium? I forgot. Carpinifolium. Look at those leaves. That's called Esveld Select. It's a very fastigiate type of growth, very upright, columnar, but pretty dwarf too. I mean, I guess, I've seen pictures of it, and it does widen out a bit, but it is much more upright than the species Acer carpinifolium. Carpinifolium or carpintifolium. I'll leave that up to you to look up. Here we have one just leafing out. It has a couple of dying branches on it, but it'll come out strong. This is Acer campbellii or campbellii. That's another section Palmata tree that I hope to hybridize or see what I can get out of in the future. There's a little Tanima no Yuki, little Pinus parviflora, Tanima no Yuki. Doesn't really have its color yet. I moved it back here. It doesn't get a lot of sun here, so maybe it won't get any of its color. But the new shoots you can kind of see it here, but the new shoots are usually white. I don't know I don't remember if it develops it later or if they first come out with white shoots. If it comes out just green this year, I know it needs more sun to get the white. Here, not all the way out yet. This is a really neat section Palmata tree, another species, Acer calcaratum. Really impressive tree. Looking forward to this one giving me some seeds. Here we have Acer Shiraz, Junahitoe or Junahito. Just starting to come out. The same with a few of my Acer Shiraz. They're a little bit later to foliate. Here we go. It's really jumping out this year. More than a foot of growth already. This is Acer Subuldianum Nitschke. Great cultivar with excellent variegation. As far as I know, doesn't revert. Seems to be pretty solid color every year. And I believe this one handles really cold weather too. The same as all Acer Subuldianums. Spin around here. Another species maple. This is actually a cultivar of this species, Acer tenuifolium. Was once considered Acer Shiraz subspecies tenuifolium, but it is now just considered its own species, Acer tenuifolium. And the cultivar is Kikanzan, Acer tenuifolium Kikanzan. A really pretty tree. This one I just got this year and has kind of a weird bent growth, like it was grown up against a wall. I'll fix that soon enough, though. It'll grow out and look nice in another year or two. Here we have a yellow striped bark. Doesn't have the yellow striped bark anymore, but if I have it in a little more sun in the wintertime, this will turn yellow with the white stripes. This is a winter gold, Acer rufinervae, winter gold. Really nice yellow bark too in the winter. Definitely, if you've got space for it, I recommend it. It'll bolt up and grow pretty large, pretty fast. So you got to have space for it. These guys also like really good drainage. So a lot of people put them on a slope so that the roots aren't sitting in water. Here we have another species maple, not from section Palmata, has not come out yet. That's the very rare Acer pentaphyllum. I'll probably go over this one when it comes out, leaves out. It's such a cool maple. There's my really ugly vine maple that it hasn't come out yet. It's got a nice Nebari though, but check out this graft point. It's very ugly. But I don't know. It's my little monster tree. I have a lot of issues with this one with powdery mildew, so I just chopped it down and I'm going to try to bonsai it or something. It's not really a great candidate for the bonsai because of that ugly graft union, but I don't know. It gives it character in a way. I think I can figure out some way to make it into kind of a neat bonsai. But that's Acer circinatum Pacific Fire, or Pacific, yeah, I think Pacific Fire is what it's called. The tree is actually, if it's positioned right and given good air circulation, it's a very pretty tree when it comes out. The leaves are really pretty, nice round orbicular type leaves. And the bark in the winter is very, very red, like red-orange color. Brighter than a lot of the coral bark Acer palmatums. So that's Acer circinatum, Pacific Fire, Pacific Sun. I'm sorry if I forgot that one. Here we go. Acer Japonicum, Acontifolium, or Aconifolium, also called Mai Kujaku. The Japanese version. Aconifolium is the Aconifolium. That is the original name, English name given to it. Maikujaku is a newer name and may not even be the same, or it may not be the same exact tree, but it looks exactly the same. This dissected leaf on Japonicum, I think, is a pretty common out of seedlings. So there could be many strains of this tree out there, but they pretty much all look the same. They probably have a little bit different growth, but pretty difficult to tell the difference between them. Okay, back over here. I've highlighted that one before. That's my little rainbow, Acer Pomatum rainbow with heavy variegation, barely grows. There is my Fujinami Nitschke. I love this one. This one's very rare and very a lot of work to, not a lot of work. People make too much of that. It's you've got to prune out reversions every year to keep the variegation going. Otherwise, it just completely reverts. And here is another one, the famous, just coming out, Fujinami Nitschke. These, I just pruned out the reverted branches on this one, so this one's pretty heavily variegated. The lighter leaves are considered the variegated leaves, not the darker ones. And of course, you got your two-tone leaves as well. The lighter leaves will turn very red, like a cherry red, but they don't come out that red. They come out a little bit more muted color. But in a couple of weeks, I'll feature this one in a video. It's a pretty spectacular color. Really cool tree, but very rare. Or hardly anybody propagates this one just because it's difficult. It's difficult. It's too much work for probably too little profit. So only the true hobbyist collectors would mess with trying to raise it. But in my opinion, it's worth it because it's a pretty awesome tree. Acer Palmatum Fujinami Nitschke. Here, a pile of junk there, gardening stuff. It's got it's hard to see it. It's a big tree, but it's got a weird kind of irregular growth to it, but I kind of like it. This is a very rare tree called Acer pasaflorrum. This one is another species tree, section Palmata. I've actually grown some seedlings of this one. This one has viable seeds now. So and it blooms about the same time as this Aconifolium, so, or Maikujaku. So I think if it's going to hybridize with anything, it's probably going to hybridize with the Maikujaku. So it'll be neat to see what this one produces in the future. Acer pasaflorrum. It's one of the earlier ones to come out, earlier blooming ones. So it could also hybridize with like a Acer or a Orange Dream, any of those early ones. Wilson's Pink Dwarf. Although I don't notice a lot of seeds on Wilson's Pink Dwarf, so I don't even know if it's a fertile tree or not. Anyway, keep going here. Just highlighted this one. This is Acer Palmatum Marielle. Beautiful tree. Over here, I have some trees that I've been messing with, just pruning. I really hard prune these. These were actually much bigger trees, and I was running out of room, so I just wanted to kind of prune them down. This one could end up being a decent bonsai, probably. This is a Japanese sunrise. This is Acer Palmatum Japanese sunrise. See the Nebari on that? Pretty cool. And the graph line's not too bad on it either. I mean, you could see it there, but it's not horrible. Probably eventually about completely go away. This is an Osaka Zukie that I cut down. And it 2 years, this thing's growing out like crazy again. Of course, you know, when winter comes and there's no leaves, it looks weird now because I cut it. But eventually it'll look nice again. Great tree. If anybody just getting into Japanese maples, Osaka Zukie is a great tree to get for many different reasons. And it beautiful fall color that lasts quite a while. Really red, like bright red. Orange Dream that I cut back. This one has a very graceful way of growing, even when it's cut down. This one was significantly larger, but you can see the caliper of the tree is a little bit bigger. It's growing. It looks good when it's out, though. I mean, even since I cut back, this is a second year growth now. It's growing out pretty impressively. I mean, I chopped these things. I mean, I chopped them way back just to see what they would do, and they just came out like crazy. Made them grow better. There we go. Incan. This is like a dark red version of Koto no Ito. It's a really nice tree. Holds its color pretty much the whole summer. It'll get a little green toward the end of the summer, but for the most part, it stays red. There's my waning Chief Joseph. This is Sir Damon. Still has some red bark. Very, very red bark. More red than Sango Kaku. Sango Kaku is more a little bit toward orange red, or more of a coral color. This is like almost a purplish red. It's like a much deeper color, and it's supposed to keep its color longer before it fades. You know, on the coral barks, the old wood will fade, and you have to prune them back really if you want them to keep sending out the new colorful growth. But this one lasts a little longer. Acer Palmatum Japanese Princess, starting to fill out. Really pretty one in the spring. It's already kind of greening out. Doesn't get a lot of sun here though. Twombly's Red Sentinel. Great color. This one had some drought damage toward the top. It's coming back out though. It'll be fine. Hopefully it doesn't make it more bushy. I want to try to keep it more columnar as it grows. Columnar. Mr. Sun, one of my favorite Shiraz Palmatum hybrids. The leaves, especially as it gets a little bit older, start to curl down, kind of like a PV starfish. It also gets, in more sun, it gets kind of this orange cast to it, orange highlights. It's a really pretty tree. Small though, kind of a slow grower. Very slow grower. I suggest getting a larger one if you can. This is red filigree lace. It's Pomatum Red filigree lace. Looks real sparse right now. It'll fill out though a little bit. I made the mistake of buying this one as a high graft liner, and I've had it for a few years now. It doesn't do much, so I do suggest buying this one larger if you can, because it's a very slow grower. Here we have Dragon Master. It's Palmatum Dragon Master. Shiraz. Little Shiraz coming out. These are Palmatum Shiraz. Geisha Gone Wild. Gwendolyn's Rose Delight, or Gwen's Rose Delight, whatever you want to call it. They're the same thing. They were discovered different places. Shiraz and Geisha Gone Wild, but it's the same reversion off of Geisha. Nitschke isn't quite showing its full variegation yet. It'll show more variegation as the summer progresses. Here we have this real tall, lanky one. Real pretty foliage is Cases Hagoromo Rose. Has real pretty color changes throughout the year. I like this one. Structurally, I'm not sure if I like it, but I like its color. We'll see as it grows. Seems to be a fast grower. There you have Celebration. Boom! How's that for a pink? Acer Palmatum Celebration. Mendocino Sunrise. I featured that one. There's a little Acer Plantanoides Resic. Just starting to come out is Red Blush. Acer Palmatum Red Blush. This one must have Shiraz in it because it comes out very late. Very cool tree, black branches, green color changing linear lobum leaves. This is Fukunagashi. Acer Palmatum Fukunagashi. Here we have Olson's Frosted Strawberry, another nice pink. We have Gold Coin, Acer Amplum, subspecies Amplum Gold Coin. That is not from section Palmata, but I still like it. It's really nice. There's a bottle tree, Queensland bottle tree, that I rooted from a cutting. Here we go, Aka Amote, Acer Japonicum Aka Amote. Really cool color for a Japonicum. It's not just plain green. And down here is a broom from Fire Glow. That's called Cricket. This one needs a lot of sun to have color. And it's got a nice growth to it, but I'm not as impressed as some of the other brooms with its color. It probably needs a lot of sun to have really good color. So anyway, Acer Palmatum Cricket. And that should do it for now. That's a little on the long side. Like and subscribe and comment, or if you have any questions, feel free to ask.